Hey everybody, I just started this on a whim. And now I'm going to turn down my volume. Okay, this is recorded live on YouTube, so if you're watching later, you won't see the comments, if any, that are left, because, as always, I didn't give anybody any warning. This is the Schmincke, I don't know if I'm saying it right or not, but that's close enough, watercolor box that for 2017 that was designed for wet paint, and they have one every year. This particular set was chosen by Marilyn Garber, who is a botanical artist, and in the set was this cool print of a tulip. So the price was, golly, I want to say almost half what the Schmincke sets are regular, so I thought, well, I've been playing around with flowers, so give it a go. I took these are pans, I took every pan and took the label off of it, and I put them in an order that I like, which is warms to cools. So I glued those down because it was easier than writing all that stuff out. And I'm a pigment nerd. I like to I also can't squirt and talk at the same time. I like to know what my pigments are, and I like to know what the chemical numbers are. And that helps when you're working with artist colors. You don't get that so much on the vanity named colors. Like if it says sky blue, that's more than likely a mixture of 2 or 3 chemical pigments in the factory. So if you don't know what those are, that sky blue may have a warm color in it. If you mix that with a cool red, you're going to get a dirty purple. So that's why I like the pigment numbers, and as much as possible I like to work with single pigment colors, meaning there's nothing else in them that I have to worry about, and I can mix my own. I'm going to wet a swatch there. And the brush I'm using is a calligraphy brush, and I'm not real sure the hair on this, but it is natural hair. I'm an art snot. And just put a little bit there and let it creep. Put a little bit more right at the top. This is lemon yellow, which may or may not be a Cad color. PY3, I believe it is. Doesn't mean anything to most of us. Cad colors are typically opaque, and they're also a little bit poison. So, don't eat it. They move really well. If you want to be notified anytime I go online to do a live video, be sure and when you click the subscribe button on my YouTube channel that you also click the notifications, and you'll just get a quick message or email. It's nothing intrusive at all, that lets you know that I'm out and about. The reason I'm doing it like this is I want to see how they move, and I want to see what the pure color, which is at the top, does to when it's diluted down. Most of these are transparent, so I'm not worrying with putting a black line down. Oh, I should have told you what they are. Ooh. The orangey one is Indian Yellow, and the next one is Cad Red Light, and this one is Ruby Red Deep, which is probably a vanity color, meaning it's got 2 or 3 colors in it. Let's see. It tells you on the label, PR 264, so it may not. It didn't say so anyway. Next up we have Quinacridone Red Light. Quinacridones are chemical colors that come out of the automotive industry. Whoops, I forgot to wet it first. It's a nice color. Looks brown in the I like that color. That is Quinn Red Light. That's pretty. Wet Canvas does one of these groups every year. I think it's been a long time they've been doing them. I just recently found them, and I've been wanting to add some Schmincke's to my collection of watercolor. So the price was right, and I got them. The reason I like natural hair brushes, and you can always tell a natural hair brush because it'll hold the shape like this. So the key is, in oriental painting, you use the whole brush like that to make a mark. And you can't necessarily do that with a synthetic. See? I'm still practicing Oriental, Asian, excuse me. Eastern style painting, I should say. Next up is Quinn Purple. That's quinacridone. And a little more pure at the top. Very nice purple. As I said, Marilyn Garber is a botanical painter, so she's going to have a nice floral set. The other advantage to real hair brushes is that they hold an awful lot of pigment or water. This one is Brilliant Blue Violet. And the disadvantage to natural hair brushes is that they hold a lot of pigment. So if you're working on something and you don't want just a whole lot of water, which of course is the joy of watercolor, then you would use a synthetic brush because they don't hold as much. Next up is Cobalt Asier. Am I making you seasick? Sorry. Got a little purple in that I don't want. This one is French Ultramarine. French Ultramarine is a granulating color, which means that as the pigment drops down, you'll see the coarseness of the pigment as it soaks into the paper. And this Cobalt Asier also has a little bit of granulation. You see how smooth these are? That one has a little granulation. Yeah, not so much. So we've got the Cad Red Light, and these, the Asier, Cobalt Asier and the French Ultramarine have some granulation in them. Next one up is Delft Blue. Which sounds like a convenience color name. But it's showing only a single pigment color. Pretty color. Next one is Indigo. Ooh. Watch it move. Get some of that extra water. Pretty color. Okay, and I have May Green. That one does have two pigments. Has a yellow and a green. And I think she had another 6 maybe of colors that if she were going to add to this selection, she would add. So I got some of those, and some were back ordered. That's why I left some room on my page. My water's dirty. Next one is Perylene Green. A nice cool green. Natural hair brushes also shed a little bit, which I don't care because that's the mark of the artist. And next we have translucent brown. Ooh. It's almost a burnt sienna color, except it's got a little red in it. I don't see the pigment on the label. Nope. Alrighty. There you have it. Let me get a drink of water. Beautiful color assortment. Now this page will go into my master pages that I have, and each of these colors will be painted in my tin box, my little tin boxes that I designed. Let me show them to you. These are little cigarillo boxes. I'm going to let that sit flat to dry. Fold that up out of the way. And inside this box are the tins that hold warm red, cool red, black white, duochrome, yellow, green, earth, orange, blue, purple, violet. So for example, I can pull my yellow out. Get this up where y'all can see me. Here are all the yellows in tube colors I have. And I need to laminate this because the being loose like that sticks more readily. Each of these swatches has the pigment number, the manufacturer, the pigment number, and the name. So like that's Windsor Yellow Deep. This one's Quinn Lemon, Cobalt Yellow Pale. Each of these has a magnet, and the magnet just came off. I told you it's not perfect. Each of these has a label with Winsor Newton Gamblin Genuine. And on these first ones I put A1, which is this whole tin, 23, so it's spot 23. And there's 7, should be right in there. Genuine. There it is. Sits right there. Now the ones that are missing, obviously I have room for a few more. The ones that are missing are ones that I've taken out. I don't know where its magnet went. So like if I want to use this in a particular painting, I can pull this completely out, put it in an empty tin with the blue or the green or whatever else I'm going to use on that painting, and they can stay there until it's finished, and then I put them back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go change my water. I'll be right back. Hang on. Now I'm back. What I'm going to do is take my brush and I'm going to get some of the yellow. And I'm going to paint it right here. In my master. When I label this, when I say Schmincke, I will know that it's in this tin with the other Schmincke's, because some of my sets I want to keep as sets. Okay? So anyway, I'll let that dry and come back to it. So that's my box. I've got a video on how I did it. If you'll just look for it, you will find it. It was a labor of love. And if I go to a class or something or a workshop, I can take this with me that has a pan of over 200 colors. You can't, I mean, that's just not practical to carry that many tubes with you. So I've got that and I'm proud of it. Let me put this up. Okay. Excuse me. This is a new journal in the Architectures line from Canvas Corp. And this is in the, I'm not sure if it's 7 Gypsies. Yeah, it's 7 Gypsies, I'm almost sure. But I love the paper. And so what I did was tried to see, or not tried, I did, put some different media on here with florals to see how the paper reacted and what it needed. I had to use a lot of gouache on this, a lot of white gouache, and it's shiny. I don't guess that matters, but it is shiny. You know, I may have used the aqua gouache, the gouache from Holbein that dries as an acrylic. Doesn't matter, I wanted white in there and I wasn't ever going to get white on beige paper. So this is watercolor. Look at all those little holes I left. That was fun. Okay, here's another watercolor. And the paper has buckled a little at first. I didn't use an abundance of water. I think that one turned out really pretty. And this is colored pencil. I think I'm going to come back on these and put a drop shadow. I think that might be kind of fun. And then another one from colored pencil. I haven't finished it yet. I have a set of student quality pencils. I've got a whole bucket full, but I only have 16 Prismacolors. I hated to buy more Prismas because somewhere in my house is a full set of Prismacolors, all neatly packaged in their leather Ziploc pencil case, and I have not been able to find them. So I hesitated to buy more, although I think mine are the ones that are harder. So anyway, I did a lot of blending of different colors in order to get the colors I wanted. I've been picking these flowers from Pixabay, and I think I'm going to play a little bit right now. Oh, here are the wrappers from the Schmincke. I've saved all those wrappers. Those will be cool in a journal. What? There's print on here. And no surprise, it's all French. No surprise. Okay. Let's see, Pizza Bay. Pixabay is supposed to be an art. These are copyright free. You don't have to do anything to. Now I just go over here. See, here's the one I used for that. And find one that I like. Something jumps out at me. Here's the purple one I'm working on. Ooh, that's pretty, but that's not the one I did. If I'm doing work for sale or for competition, I always make sure it's my own photo. But if it's for practice or in a journal, something like that, as long as it's copyright free, I'll do it. I'll use it. Come on now. Yeah, that sunflower right here is kind of pretty. first thing I do is grab a pencil. This one happens to be a Zentangle pencil, but it'll work just fine. This is a 4-in-1 sharpener. Whoops, don't take that apart. This is by KUM. Come hither, my darling. And I'm just doing one on the right hand page. So I'm going to do an oval. And I measure the width, and it's almost 2 times the width for the flower, which puts it down here, and I don't want it to be that big. So let's come in about like that for the height, and from there double. That's better. Okay, so I have the outer dimensions of that flower. If you want to at this point for drawing, you can go ahead and draw your oval and hit it, but I'm going to live dangerously and try not to. So if anybody says something on YouTube, I'm not going to be able to see you because I'm looking at this on my... I use a combination contour drawing, which is where you just look at your object. Let's see in double. That didn't help. I've got glasses that are giving me fits. That's okay. I'm learning to like them. If I close one eye, and I'm going to go ahead and pick it back up right here. And I just went over my limit, but that's okay. Ow, pencil broke. John Singer Sargent always said when you're drawing a face or head, study or whatever, always draw the head at about 3/4 real size, because you will expand it as you're working on it. I forgot to put my phone on silent. And the Randy just texted me, so very lightly. Come back over here, pick up that. I'm just going to pick up the outline, talking softly so I can sneak up on it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put these in. I'm talking to myself, so forgive me. I do that when I'm drawing. So that doesn't really matter. Some of this detail will be handled with color, with shading. And we're going to give it a stem. There. And I think I'll give it this one. Now this center comes. Flowers are fun because you don't have to be so exact. If you're drawing a face, you're going to be measuring and remeasuring. This has greenery. That'll do it. That ought to do it. I want to find another brush. Where is my favorite brush? Hang with me, guys. I had it out. We'll go with this. Oh, there it is. Hello. I cleaned up in here. This is my big water bucket. I want this one that got kind of messed up in transit. This brush is Isabey Pedigree 6235. It's a size 4. Let those hairs get good and wet. It should straighten back up. Now the reason I love this brush is when you shake it, it comes to a point. So it's fat in the belly and then comes to a real fine point. So that's one of the things I like about it. A real hair brush, particularly Schmincke, will do that when you shake them. This is a Jean Haynes. No, this is a Charles Reed Art Express Schmincke size 6, and it doesn't have his, oh there it is. It's got his name on it. So that's what it looks like dry. Let those hairs get good and wet. Pull it out, shake it, and that's what it looks like. I can't see. That's what it looks like wet. This is a Cheap Joe's Lizard's Lick, size 6. And what it does is it has a lot of short hairs in the belly that carry color and water to this little group of long hairs. So, because ordinarily if you just have this few long hair, you're not going to get much water or pigment pickup. You will with this one, and it will go down to that and it'll make a great point. See? So I'm going to start with my Charles Reed size 6. Get this some more water. Now any parts that I want to keep white, and all I'm going to do is paint an undercolor of this yellow and leave some of the areas that I want to be white. Could have erased that line before. Resist the temptation to paint on the point. You want to use the belly of the brush as much as you can so that you don't wear out that point. I'm just going to hit these. See, there goes my nose again every time I sit down to paint. In ordinary, there is no ordinary, especially in my life. Your lighter colors should go on first because they're the lightest in value. And if you don't put those on first, you never see them. So if you put them on first and then come back with your other colors, the yellow will add a glow to the other colors that you wouldn't get ordinarily. Now, if I were on plain watercolor paper, this would be called saving the white, saving the light. But this paper is beige, so I will have to make some accommodation for that. And if it means that I need to use gouache or Chinese white, which is basically gouache, I will. Because I love this paper. I'm a fool for any kind of paper and journals. If all the art stores close tomorrow, I have enough supplies to last me. Again, this is the Architectures line from Canvas Corp. The other thing to keep in mind, like I'm doing right here, is not to overly saturate the paper. Since it's not a watercolor paper, I'm going to bring that one out a little bit more. Since it's not a watercolor paper, you don't want to overly saturate it because it'll buckle real bad. Real bad. Find something to blow my nose on. I'll find a paper towel that's not too dirty. I think that one had some glue on it. Alright, now we're going to sneak up on it. I'm going to add a little bit of orange. We're still wet enough that this will blend. And I'm just hitting the parts that are the darker ones. And while this isn't the final color, it's still too warm. The color of the shading in these petals is cool. So I'm sneaking up on it. I'm going light to dark. I'm trying to practice what I preach. You know that old saying, you teach most what you need to learn? Well, that's perfect for me. So I'm painting with the side of this brush. I'm going to let the yellows dry just a little bit. I'm going to come back in with some of our green. I'm using the light green with a little bit of the dark green. Ooh, that dark green is powerful. And I want some light green with some yellow. It actually has a little bit of blue in it. A little more water. Okay. I'm just going to paint the entire leaf. Remember, light to dark. It's a little bit heavier than I wanted, so I just blot it. Thirsty brush picks up extra. Not too shabby. Not exact, but it doesn't have to be. Come in with some blue, cool that down just a little. Nope. I'm going to do the underpainting here too in yellow. And we'll come back and float in some of this Cad Red. Picking up a little bit of color. Dry brush. By that I mean all the excess moisture has been squeezed out. Okay, now I'm going to come back. Transparent brown. These are very strong. Now the next is purple. Purple. Which purple do I want? I want this one. Mixed with some, well, that might work. Yep. I need a little bit of white right in there. And my gouache is down there in the floor. Stay with me. Let's try titanium white. Come on now. Titanium white seems to need some encouragement. have some student grades mixed in here. Where's a Chinese white when you need one? I know where I've got one. Hang on. Get my white bucket. Takes forever for these paints to dry. So until they do, you will get sticky doos. Now I don't need. Get some clean water. Just wanted it to mix a little. If I'd let that dry, it might have been a little bit better. Okay, so we'll leave that for now. Let's go back to yellow. Yellow and purple. So if I come back, sorry about that. If I come back on this yellow with the purple, I'm going to get a little bit of a cooler color. Kind of makes it brown. See, when you mix opposites, they kind of do brown, and that's fine because that kind of goes with the center of the flower. anybody's out there, I hope you're enjoying this. I don't know what we're going to end up with here, but do. Okay, I'm going to glaze this. I think we're dry enough. Except that's a dirty color. Dirty color. Okay, I had that clean water that I just sprayed on there. I'm going to go over each of these . Pencil marks don't bother me. I'm one of those artists that I like for it to look like I was there. It's called the hand of the artist. In oil painting or acrylic painting, if it's a textured painting, you always want to leave some brush marks or something so that people can tell you were there. ADD's kicking in. Then I start getting in a hurry when it's kicking in. I'm going to put a little bit of greenish blue. It's a mess so far, isn't it? I never claimed to be perfect. There's a little bit of white right up here. And there's some right here. Now this is gouache, so it's opaque unless you water it down too much. Now, definitely got some mud going on there. So I'm going to dry it again. I'm going to go in with nickel azo. I'm going to put it over here. This is gouache. And used straight out of the tube, it will be fairly opaque. If you water it down, it gets a little more transparent. I'm going to see if I can salvage this. It's in its ugly stage. I think that my shadow colors were a little bit dark. I jumped dark too soon. which is very easy to do. Hope I'm still filming, I have no idea. I'm just covering over the tops of all that dark, and hopefully this will unify it. If it doesn't, oh well. Nobody promised you a rose garden. What you do want to make sure of with gouache is that you don't get it mixed in with your regular paint. Tomorrow is painting day with Shannon Green at Canvas Corp in Springdale. We just take whatever we want to work on and play. Teach and play. So if you ever have a day trip planned anywhere close to Springdale, Arkansas, email the company and see what day we're doing. It's coming a little bit back to life. I wanted to try some gouache anyway in this book. So there. Let's see now, what am I looking for? Yellow ochre. Maybe, maybe. I'm seeing sunlight just... not quite enough. Raw sienna won't work because it's almost the same as yellow ochre but transparent. Raw sienna. Don't think Gambosia is going to show, but we'll try it. It's an orangier color. Dioxazine purple is very purple, very dark purple and bright and strong. Let me see if I can get some white in here. This is a ratty looking sunflower. I think I'm about done. My attention span hasn't increased a whole lot yet, but I'm walking 1 to 2 miles a day. I'm happy about that. All right, let's see how we did. The big reveal. We didn't do that great. I could keep working it. Might and I might not. You never know. All right, let's go back over here and see what's going on YouTube. We didn't have any live chatters today. Actually, the picture on the video doesn't look too bad, but you know, there you go. All right, guys, this is Vicki, and I'm signing off for this afternoon, and I will catch you later. Bye.